A very good evening to you and welcome to Idea TV News at 9. I am Cynthia Bassi. We begin with the headlines. FG launches app to connect Nigerian women to finance and skills. Drought spreads beyond Kenya's ARID north, pushing headers into crisis. AIRTEL to launch second internet breakout in southern Nigeria. Ghana limits offshore investment to protect CEDI. The federal government restricts Banana Island's shoreline approvals under new framework. And away from Africa, Trump claims inflation victory repeatedly as voters still feel price pressures. And in business, Pencom licenses Awaba as first accredited pension agent. In health, NDLEA seizes 7,746 tons of illegal drugs in KOGI. And in sport, NSC confirms Nigerian Federation of American Football as official body. Still in sports, new IOC chief meets U.S. Vice President VANCE ahead of 2028 Los Angeles game. Now the news in full. The federal government has launched the Happy Woman app platform, a digital tool designed to connect Nigerian women to finance, skills development, markets, essential services, and government support. The initiative is part of the expanded Nigeria for Women program, which now targets 25 million beneficiaries nationwide. Vice President Kashim Shettima, representing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the launch, highlighted the importance of placing women at the center of national development. The platform aims to empower women to engage in sustainable economic activities, improve household incomes, and strengthen community resilience. The program builds on a pilot phase that reached over 1 million women in 6 states and leverages technology to enhance inclusion. The government says the initiative is a cornerstone of the 2026 Year of Social Development and Families, coordinating action across federal, state, and local governments to promote social and economic empowerment for women. Moving on, a worsening drought in Kenya is spreading beyond the country's traditionally arid north, deepening hardship for pastoralist communities that depend on livestock for survival. Headers say thousands of animals have died as grazing land disappears and water becomes scarce. In Kajiado County, near the capital Nairobi, some families report losing hundreds of cattle and goats, forcing many into distressed sales as livestock prices collapse. Authorities in Kenya and neighboring Somalia have declared drought emergencies, warning that growing competition for scarce resources could heighten the risk of conflict. Experts say the crisis highlights the increasing reach of climate-driven disasters across East Africa. AIRTEL Nigeria has announced plans to launch a second internet breakout point in the southern part of the country, aiming to improve internet speed, resilience, and coverage nationwide. The new facility, leveraging the Two Africa submarine cable, will operate from Kwa Ibo in Akwa Ibom State, providing an alternative to Nigeria's current single breakout point in Lagos. The move comes as part of AIRTEL's ongoing network expansion, including a 25% fiber rollout and upgrades to nearly 16,711 network sites nationwide. The company says the expansion will strengthen both urban and rural connectivity and enhance high-speed 4G services while accelerating 5G deployment across major cities. AIRTEL Chief Executive Officer Dinesh Basin highlighted that the investment reflects long-term planning to meet rising data demand and improve the digital experience for customers. The company says the project will benefit millions of users in the north and south, ensuring faster, more reliable internet services across Nigeria. Still in Africa news, Ghana's Securities and Exchange Commission has ordered local fund managers to scale back offshore investment in a bid to stabilize the country's currency and strengthen the economy. Under the new directive, fund managers can no longer invest more than 20% of their assets in foreign securities, while funds previously allowed to invest fully offshore are now capped at 70%. Investments abroad must also be limited to countries that share financial information with Ghana's regulator. The move comes as Ghana emerges from its worst economic crisis in decades and prepares to complete a 3-year IMF support program later this year. Still in business news, the federal government of Nigeria has announced strict new rules for shoreline approvals on Banana Island, Lagos. Under the updated framework, no new shoreline approvals or extensions will exceed boundaries jointly set by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, the National Inland Waterways Authority, and the Office of the Surveyor General of the Federation. Existing grants have been reviewed and past approvals without evidence of fee payment have been revoked. Officials say all new applicants must begin with a letter of intent, followed by joint inspections and survey validation. Non-compliance by applicants or officials will attract sanctions, and provisional approvals now carry expiration clauses. The move is part of broader efforts to protect navigable waterways, ensure compliance, and manage shoreline development sustainably amid concerns that unregulated reclamation is affecting waterfront property values and the environment. We'll take a quick break now. The news continues when we return.
Enhancing cybersecurity. As cyber attacks grow more sophisticated, cybersecurity technologies are evolving to defend against them. AI-driven threat detection systems, zero-trust architectures, and advanced encryption methods are becoming the new norm. However, keeping up with rapidly evolving threats is a challenge, especially for industries that handle sensitive data like finance and healthcare. The cybersecurity market is expected to reach $248.26 billion by 2024. But the constant need for innovation and adaptation means businesses need to stay vigilant.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is Idea TV News at 9. Now, the rest of the stories. Away from Africa, U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly declared inflation defeated in recent economic speeches, even as many Americans say the cost of living remains high. Across 5 speeches since December, Trump said inflation had been beaten nearly 20 times and claimed prices were falling about 30 times. However, official data shows inflation is still around 3%, with grocery staples like coffee and beef rising sharply over the past year. Republican strategists warned the messaging risks creating a credibility gap ahead of midterm elections, with polls showing voters remain dissatisfied with the economy. The White House says the president will intensify his affordability message, with his State of the Union address expected to focus heavily on the cost of living. Now in business news, the National Pension Commission has licensed Awaba as the first accredited pension agent under the Personal Pension Plan, a move aimed at expanding coverage among self-employed and informal sector workers across Nigeria. The announcement was made on Friday via PENCOM's official social media channels. Accredited pension agents serve as intermediaries between pension fund administrators and workers outside formal employment, including artisans, traders, freelancers, and professionals such as lawyers and doctors. Awaba will support the marketing, registration, and onboarding of contributors, offering a secure digital gateway for remitting mandatory pension contributions. PENCOM says the move is part of broader efforts to formalize pension enrollment, improve accessibility, and strengthen compliance. The Commission has also accredited pension recovery agents to enforce contributions, recover defaults, and ensure the integrity of Nigeria's pension system. In health news now, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Kogi State says it seized 7,746 tons of assorted illicit drugs in 2025. Speaking in Lokoja, NDLEA Assistant Commandant General Mustafa Yahuza said 339 suspects arrested for offenses involving cannabis, cocaine, tramadol, and other psychotropic substances. 80 convictions were secured, while 238 drug-dependent persons received counseling and brief interventions. He also highlighted the command's public enlightenment efforts, noting 71 sensitization campaigns conducted in schools, marketplaces, motor parks, and places of worship across the state. He expressed appreciation to Governor Ahmed Ododo for establishing a state drug control committee and initiating a drug rehabilitation and skills acquisition center aimed at strengthening KOGI's fight against drug abuse. In sport news now, the National Sports Commission has officially recognized the Nigerian Federation of American Football as the governing body for the sport in the country. The announcement follows months of disputes within the sport, which were resolved through intervention by NSC Director General Bukola Olopade. He said unity and clear structures are vital for sports development in Nigeria. The NFAF board inauguration is scheduled for February 10th at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. Babajide Akeredolu, the federation's president, leads a team poised to drive grassroots development and international competitiveness. Nigeria has made history by winning the inaugural Africa Flag Football Championship in both men's and women's categories. Officials say the confirmation now positions the federation to prepare for the Flag Football World Championships in Düsseldorf, Germany this August. Still in sports news, the International Olympic Committee says U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance's presence at the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics signals strong American commitment to the Olympic movement. Vance met with IOC President Kirsty Coventry for the first time since he took office in June ahead of preparations for the Los Angeles 2028 Summer Games. IOC officials described the meeting as positive, highlighting good chemistry and enthusiasm from the U.S. administration. While the U.S. team received cheers at Friday's opening ceremony, Vance drew some boos when shown on giant screens, waving the American flag amid protests over the presence of U.S. immigration agents. The IOC says high-level engagement like this is crucial for the success of future games and the continued global reach of the Olympics. And that's all we have for you on Idea TV News at 9. But before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. FG launches app to connect Nigerian women to finance and skills. Drought spreads beyond Kenya's ARID, not pushing headers into crisis. AIRTEL to launch second internet breakout in southern Nigeria. Ghana limits offshore investment to protect CEDI. The federal government of Nigeria restricts Banana Island shoreline approvals under a new framework. And away from Africa, Trump claims inflation victory repeatedly as voters still feel price pressures. In business, Pencom licenses Awaba as first accredited pension agent. And in health, NDLEA seizes 7,746 tons of illegal drugs in KOGI. In sport, NSC confirms Nigerian Federation of American Football as official body. Still in sport, new IOC chief meets U.S. Vice President Vance ahead of 2028 Los Angeles Games. And now do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms at Idea Television. I'm Cynthia Bassi. Thank you for your time.